Hello, everybody! Crackle, crackle. Sorry about that. Animix, we're doing a request this week. Yeah! Request from someone who donated to the Patreon. And that's a thing you can do too, because we have 2 of these a month. So if you would like to donate to our Patreon and make sure we do something you really, really want us to cover now, rather than some random chance of it happening eventually, then consider doing that. But the request for today, brought to us by Ethan F., longtime follower. Let's say follower. I don't think we're good enough to have fans, but he asked us to take a look at Witchblade, the anime, an adaptation of the comics from Top Cow, I want to say, was the ones who made them. It was also adapted into a TV show in the West, but in Japan they wanted anime because there's some boobies. Boobies is happening in the show.
There are some big old boobies happening.
I think it was more focused on butts, actually.
Yeah. Like, the boobies didn't show up until the very end.
That's true. Yeah. So, I think all of us were pretty much a little bit blindsided by this because the artwork for, like, the advertisements for the show did not match, at least in the first episode, did not match the final product whatsoever until, like, the last minute. So, yeah. This show about a woman that has a magical girl style transformation into a woman that is basically not wearing a shirt or pants or
just sleeves, really.
much. Yeah, just kind of sleeves and maybe a little vest thing just to just barely cover the nipples. Yeah.
I mean, in regards to the false advertising bit, it's far from uncommon for the first episode of a show like this to just not give the superpower stuff until the last. We've seen before.
Superpower stuff, sure, but also the not having any kind of nudity when it's just plastered all over the advertising. And it's like, wow, my connection's rubbish.
I was gonna say, is anyone else not?
I can barely hear anything you're actually saying, Casey.
You really are.
I don't know what happened there. It just went to absolute shit. Anyway, yeah. So, despite all of the artwork for it, for advertising being just all the boobs and the butts and all the stuff and the skin, yeah, this show doesn't do that for like 20 minutes.
It's actually a really compelling story.
Yeah.
Of a mother trying to retain her daughter in like this post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, it's compelling in the sense that it seems to be being told by some, from the perspective of some not particularly great people, just in general. Like, I'm kind of sympathizing with the antagonists at this point. Like, I feel like there'll be stuff revealed later, but for now, But, yeah, so there's a mum. I forget what her name is. Let's call her Witchblade Lady. And there is a daughter who's Ryuko, I want to say. Let's go with that. Yeah, Ryoko. So they're on a boat. Insert song reference. And traveling to Tokyo, or what's left of it, because everything is flooded. Like, there are buildings that are just wrecked Fallout 3 style and just sitting half underwater. Everything is flooded. Post-apocalyptic and such.
Yeah, that's how the show starts. They're just in the background.
Yep.
Nobody's talking about them.
Yeah. So they just kind of say, yeah, it was like 6 years ago. stuff happened and everything kind of went to shit. Oh well, this is life now.
It's pretty cray-cray.
Yeah. So the mother is kind of putz, basically. She leans over the railing of the ship so that she can fish out a rubber duck that got separated from the other rubber ducks. I don't... Like, they treat them like actual ducks, despite showing that they're very clearly rubber ducks, and then it turns out they knew they were rubber ducks all along, but they still cared about the journey of the rubber ducks through the barren hellscape, flooded, apocalyptic nothing that is the remains of Tokyo. It's a little weird. But, yeah, the captain points out, what the hell are you doing? You have a kid. And the kid is pretty much running the show and the one in charge because the mother is a putz. My connection's
Is that
gone to
me
shit
or
again.
okay?
Yeah, that's the thing. We can barely hear a single thing you're saying.
And I'm back.
I
is
was
getting annoying.
honestly questioning at this point, is this some sort of age situation where one of them is actually a lot older than they look and the other one is actually a lot younger than they look? But no, it's just... I mean, we have a Freudian excuse that comes in later, but...
Yeah, from everything I've seen, she's just kind of a bad mom. So they get to the remains of what's actually habitable of Tokyo and start looking for work and food and such. And they find it, and in the middle of this, there is a police investigation into some murders that's happening. There's a photographer that's taking photographs that he shouldn't be, and he's kind of an asshole too. Then it turns out the quote-unquote bad guys show up, and they're questioning the captain of the boat and saying, hey, we're the good guys, we're child protection services, welfare. So he tells them where the mother and daughter are. They show up and basically take them in. And we get a scene with child welfare saying, hey, you're kind of a shitty mum. You have no job, no place to live, and your daughter basically takes care of you. That's not how it's supposed to work. We're going to take her away. And at this point, I'm pretty much like, yeah. Do that. That makes sense. I mean, it's weird because it's almost played like it's supposed to be sympathetic, but it's kind of not. Like, I know a lot of anime play the precocious child looks after the parent and stuff, and that's supposed to be okay in that portrayal, but in this one, no, it kind of doesn't. It seems like someone's actually doing the right thing for once. I don't know.
Well, the problem with that is, well, it's two problems, really. One, we're told that that organization, whatever they're called, child services, basically, is a scam, and they're shitty. But it's the mom that told us that, so...
Yeah, bit of an unreliable source, yeah.
It's like, you kicked us out, but it's like, you're only allowed to stay in the shelter for 6 years. It's like, oh...
Yeah. And then the kid pipes up and is like, no, I have to be with mommy because I take care of her. She's useless without me. And it's like, okay, yeah.
The only thing I can really say in the mom's favor is she said she came to this place to find a home and get a job. Which she's trying at least, but still.
Yeah.
They're on the right path, but, they're not on it. So.
Yeah.
So the kid is taken out of the room, and the welfare lady and the mum have a conversation like, yeah, this is fucked up. we should take her away. She needs proper school and food and just a nice place to live that isn't just wandering around from place to place with, like, no prospects of any kind of hopeful future. And the mum signs the form and is like, yeah, okay. Daughter doesn't take this very well when the welfare lady shows up to take her away and starts screaming, and the mum freaks out, kind of understandably, and has second thoughts and tries to chase after them, at which point the police try and stop her, and the welfare service people drive away, and the mum fights off the police and steals a police car.
Now, you see, I don't know if they're trying to show love there, just unbreakable bond, but no, what it comes across there is that that's vindicating that the mother is not in a fit state of mind.
Yeah,
It does come off as more dependence than actual, like, love and attachment.
Yeah.
At least based on what we've already seen.
Yeah, I was going to say obsession because that was the word I thought of, but yeah, dependence is the right word. Thank you. Yeah. So, there is a car chase where the mom chases down the welfare service car with her kid in it and then tries to ram said car with her kid in it.
I mean, how exactly would you stop another car, though, without doing something that could crash it? If you're set on the path of stopping the car, there's not many things you can do gently.
I guess, I mean, mistakes had been made far before that point. That, you know, in terms of this is a really stupid thing to do, we crossed that point a long time before this, but still,
Yes.
They sort of stack up on top of each other at this point.
So here we have the realistic consequences of someone hijacking a police car and going after someone to try to... well, yeah. Doesn't end well.
Yeah, she crashes a police car. And it flips, and smashy smash, and the kid watches the whole thing, and the welfare people don't stop, which I feel like is actually kind of a point against them, because holy shit, that's cold-blooded. But, you know...
I mean, they've already lost a few points, because when the mother is trying to get in the car, they're just, I don't know, coldly say to start the car or whatever. It's like they need to get away. So that kind of points in the Insidious favor.
Yeah, so she survives the crash, but gets arrested, obviously. And
yeah, for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, a lot of reasons. Yeah, I mean, the kidnapping was it was pretty much bullshit, but the stealing the cop car to chase down a kid and attempt to actually kidnap her, because at that point she had signed away custody. Yeah, that's, arresting. Yeah. So she gets put in jail with a guy that was foreshadowed earlier to be kind of fucked up in supernatural ways.
You have the right to remain clothed, please.
No.
Yeah, so he starts freaking out and going, ooh, that smells good, kind of thing. Meanwhile, little kid breaks out of child welfare custody by climbing out of a window on like a third floor balcony in a bathroom. Jumps down on top of the photographer, who is like, what the fuck?
Did we mention
Go on. Hello?
Did we mention the photographer?
Yeah, that he was taking pictures and he's kind of an asshole. Yeah. So she lands on him And he's like, okay, what the hell? And the little girl's like, hey, take me with you. Uh, and welfare lady's shouting from above that the little girl's gone missing. And the little girl threatens to, I don't know, make this a bad situation for him. The details are fuzzy for me. But yeah, so she basically blackmails him into taking her with him to find her mum. He's like, okay, where are we going? He says they're driving down the highway, and she's like, oh, it's the penitentiary.
The prison.
Yeah, immediately stops the car.
Did you watch the sub or the dub, by the way?
The dub. It was pretty good.
Okay, because in the sub, the daughter convinces him by just being very genuine. I don't think she actually like threatens him.
Yeah. The dub was pretty good, by the way. Wow, just a solid one.
That's good.
Yeah. So he's like, in for a penny, I guess. All right, penitentiary it is. So, while that's going on, and while they're on their way, the other prisoner, the one that was freaking out, freaks out more and starts bashing himself against the cell. Breaks out, and the mum also freaks out, and she has a little symbol on her wrist that glows and then stops and then starts being painful, presumably. And then dude turns into a giant thing, a mech kind of thing. It was a weird design, but it was kind of a mech.
A tripod drilling device? I don't even...
And I mean, it looks to be completely machine, but it's actually flesh somehow.
Kind of. Yeah, so he basically runs down...
Fleshbot.
he runs down one of the police officers, pins him to a wall, and basically squishes him. And then rips open Mum's cell. And she's still freaking out, and then turns into naked lady superhero with a blade arm. Yay. It's a pretty cool design. It's very fan servicey, but it's a pretty cool design.
It is, actually. It's despite the fact that it's, 90% naked, it's pretty good design.
Yeah. So drill piston man, I don't know what to call this thing. Yeah, he starts being creepy and saying, oh, it's gonna feel good, it's gonna feel so good to squish you and stuff. And then he seems to have a robot phallus that gets aroused, that she then cuts off. It's all very symbolic. Yep.
I know she cut a part of him off, but I thought it was like a leg or something. I didn't realize
it was a little tube that was sort of hanging on his undercarriage that just sort of goes whoop and just sort of rises in a very
Wow.
It's very symbolic. Yeah. And then she's like, I don't have time for you, and cuts him in half. But in the anime way, where you cut them in half and they're still fine, and then they try and chase you down, and then they explode and split in half. Yeah. And then it's revealed that, hey, this was all basically a setup by presumably the welfare people, because they're supposed to be the villains. And they put a tracker and a sedative on the mum, who transforms back into normal mum mode, I guess.
Mom mode.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
And passes out in what looked like a tunnel.
So, I was not expecting this show to be like this at all.
I don't think any of us were.
So I was quite surprised, you might say.
Surprised and, happy. It was a pretty good fucking show, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Like, titty monster transformation aside, yeah, just the setting of mother and daughter in Japan that has had recently experienced a huge disaster. People are still trying to cope with that. Child welfare services being the force that you kind of have to worry about. I think it's a pretty interesting premise.
Yeah. Like, just on its own, if it was just the child welfare and the mom
Yeah,
trying
without
to get a
even
kid back.
any the magic supernatural stuff, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a fairly interesting story. And the impressive thing is about it that they have that, and then they have the fantasy magic bullshit, and it still feels like one story. It still kind of fits together. I mean, it's not a perfect fit, but, it holds together better than you would expect for those two premises meshed into one story.
Yeah, because we've seen some real stinkers of trying to mix things together, and yeah, this just came out well, and I'd probably be persuaded to watch a few more episodes of this.
Yeah,
I would
same.
feel the same way if it wasn't for the fan service. I conceivably get past it if the story was good enough, but this doesn't strike me as a fantastic story. No offense meant. It's a good story, and
Yeah.
I could be persuaded to watch more of it. Just, I'm disinclined to watch more of it of my own volition.
I can see how the mom would not appeal to many people.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem to have a butthole.
Also, that's an odd interjection, but
Like,
accurate.
there was a close-up on it, and yeah, there was... It was very apparent, is what I'm saying. So we should probably roll something new.
Sure.
Yeah.
So who's gonna roll something new?
Oh, I can do that.
I can do it as well.
And
Wanna flip it
I'll
over?
get to it first. Alright, I got it.
All right.
1 to 26, right?
yes,
We got 14.
14, that's KLMN. Yes, N. Okay. 70.
Oh boy, 70?
Well, last time we were here, you had
38.
38. Da-da-da-dum. This week's winner is Nighthead Genesis.
Nighthead Genesis?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, let's have a look at this. It is said that
It is-
70% of the human brain capacity is unused. If human possesses incredible power, it is strongly believed to be lying dormant within this region. This unused 70% brain capacity is known as Nighthead.
Wow.
Do I even need to explain what's funny about that? I hope I don't.
That's what a night wizard gives.
Okay,
Do
so
you feel proud of yourself, Zero? Do you?
Yes.
the famous work Nighthead is going to break the silence. They were abandoned by their parents because of the psychic power they possess. They are the Kirihara brothers who lived in a laboratory within a barrier-protected forest. They have escaped from the laboratory, and a new wave of revolution is about to arise. A new Nighthead is about to awaken.
Does that translate to something different, or was it something different
No,
originally?
I
it's
feel
written
like
in
that's
English.
Japan
It's written-
picking words in English.
It's written in English on the Japanese poster, so they very much. Okay, the whole 70% brain capacity thing is not actually true. It's been disproven.
Also, it was 90%, and yeah, it's
Yeah,
bullshit.
I know. So they even got that wrong, even the pseudoscience. Why not? Let's watch this. I'm curious.
Yeah, like the whole thing with the 10% of your brain, it's most of it is doing like autonomic functions and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's not really like we're supposed to be the way that it is. Yeah.
Anyone want to veto this?
The name Nighthead alone just fills me with glee. So no.
Horror, mystery, and sci-fi. I mean, I'm not inclined to veto this. I'm hoping, probably in vain, but hoping that it could be another interesting, like, Pet Shop with Horrors. We'll see. But I'd put in for a group veto, but we're not doing that because someone here is eager to see it. No.
Patient, I'm just going to give you fair warning. This recap is going to have so many blowjob jokes. I don't even, like, seriously, this is going to be a thing that's going to happen.
Then you'll forgive me if I don't make it to Anime Weeks next week.
So yeah, Nighthead is next week's anime.
My only worry is, where can we see it? I'm looking this up and I can only find like shitty quality YouTube stuff. Maybe I'm just not typing in the right words. But...
Hang on. Tell me if any of the links work.
We're going to figure this out after the episode, but it seems to work, though.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, Nighthead is the show we're reviewing next week. Bye, everybody.
See you, people.
Mm.